Hello and welcome to Michael's Minty Music for today. Today we review the soundtrack for Super Mario World, released in 1990 as a launch title for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in Japan. It was composed by Koji Kondo, the Mario composer, and is available through the Nintendo Music app. This is the track listing, almost 50 tracks here, and these are the tracks I added to my playlist. 26 out of 49, so just over half here. This album is definitely good. The first half severely suffers from having each background music track repeat 4 times. First as a normal track, then as a Yoshi track, which adds some instrumentation, and then both of those sped up as the hurry-up versions. Most of the background music is good, but repeated 4 times is enough to bore anyone. Even athletic BGM gets repetitive when you've already heard it 3 times. So the opening to the album, the first half, is a bit mixed bag. Additionally, the map screen tracks are a bit lackluster. Donut Plans is the only one which is really good from the first half of the soundtrack. It does get a lot better on the back half, though. Castle BGM to the end is pretty solid. Lots of different dark, cool kind of darkish sounds, leading up to the Bowser fight music, which is pretty great. And then the last couple of tracks after the ending are all pretty sort of interesting there. There's a good chunk of stuff here which is pretty clearly inspired later video game music, especially from the early DOS era, with the Doom and Warlord soundtracks taking some clear inspiration from some of these sort of late game tracks on Super Mario World, which is pretty interesting. Also, for some reason, a good chunk of the old Mario music is kind of missing here. There are some holdovers, but most of it's pretty new, which is kind of good and bad. I don't mind the new stuff, but I would have liked to hear some of the old stuff using the new SNES sound hardware. Overall, a really good soundtrack that's unfortunately held back by kind of being full of repeats on the first half, and not every track is great. We'd be better off cutting out the Yoshi tracks and some of the hurry-up ones, probably, cutting the album down to 30 or maybe 40 minutes, in my opinion. My favorite track here is probably the Valley of Bowser map screen track, although it was pretty close between that one, Koopalings, and the Bowser BGM phases. Those couple of final boss songs are all pretty good, but that map screen track has a certain vibe to it that I really like, so that takes my top spot. I rank this soundtrack second out of all the Mario soundtracks I've heard so far, just under Super Mario Bros. 3, which was the last one for the NES. I feel that Super Mario 3 is just more iconic and flows better than World, mostly because it's a bit shorter and since it doesn't repeat tracks quite as many times. Also, Koji Kondo really kind of innovated on Mario 3 since he was trying to make something new using tools that he had used before with Mario and Mario 2. World is using all new tools, which is better quality, but kind of not the same level of sort of limitations there. Definitely marginally better quality on Super Mario World, but I think Super Mario Bros. 3 is slightly better in terms of overall sort of coming togetherness. In terms of the overall SNES rankings, Super Mario World is the only entry so far, so it takes the only spot in the rankings. Also, this soundtrack does manage to take my top spot for Nintendo soundtracks from 1990, taking it from the Game Boy version of Dr. Mario, which is good, but Super Mario World is definitely better. It has a lot more stuff going on, and is generally higher quality on a track-for-track basis. However, this soundtrack does not take my top spot from 1990 overall. That stays with In Excess's X, which is also really good. They're of a similar quality. While Super Mario World is competitive here, I think it just has too many not great tracks and too many issues that make it not quite as good as X. But it is definitely close, which is pretty impressive. Thank you for watching. Next up will be the other launch title for the SNES, F-Zero. It's a shorter one, but it's also the first soundtrack that isn't by Koji Kondo or the other composer Hirokazu Tanaka. So that'll be pretty interesting. So stay tuned for that, and as always, stay minty.